All right, we got a classic here. Sweet 16, Fancy versus Ghost. This has one of the biggest Madden blunders in a meaningful game really ever. This game's worth like 20K, something like that. Maybe it's 10K. I'm not totally sure. We have Ghost on offense, so immediately checks it down to his running back. Austin Eckler able to get out. And right there, what you just watched is very important. This is a man coverage meta. Man 21 right here. Man coverage meta. Watch a running back. He's on a table route right now. The outside linebacker right here is manned up to him. Watch what he's able to do. He's able to just to break outside of that, and that's a table route beating man coverage. That is not consistent year to year, but that's one of those little gimmicky things. Not gimmicky, but one of those things that's like, that can change year to year that a lot of the pros will know about and is very important to the pros being really good at the game, and it's very critical to their schemes, but not the average player will know. So it's why watching videos like this of very high-level breakdowns can give you, even just adding a route like that to your scheme, I mean, that can change everything, right? Being able to throw a table route against man coverage. Again, didn't work in 22. Maybe it works in 23. But yeah, huge man coverage meta right here. And Ghost is actually going to be debuting one of the biggest things that people do against man, but he kind of put steroids on it, okay? One of the best ways to beat man coverage every single year is your running back and your tight end. If you look here, his tight end has a start underneath him. It's because he has route tech and matchup nightmare on him, and it's going to allow him to basically beat man coverage every single time. And he's actually on this corner route, which is going to be good against man coverage as well. And you got to remember, during this time, the meta was so overwhelmingly cover 2 man, and then, kind of moving your safeties around. A lot of times you'd be cover 2 man, and then your safeties are what you can adjust. You can leave them in deep blues, right, to help over top, and then you can really, play aggressive with your corners in man coverage, or you can put your safeties in flats, but it starts to become a cat and mouse game like that. I'm never a fan of a man coverage meta. I think, it's interesting for me because I do think there is a different type of skill gap that comes with a heavy man coverage meta, in that a lot of very good offensive players will benefit from it. But I value the game. I think man coverage is boring when that's the overwhelming meta. So I prefer it not being that. But that's what we're playing in Madden 21 in the game. And we're just going to see a lot of these balls going to the tight end. You see the tight end right here on an out route as I get a message saying to die from linebacker spreader. Awesome. That'll go in the video. No, but literally, you're just going to see a lot of checkdowns between the halfback and the tight end. That's what you should always do in man coverage, or when you're attacking man coverage, is really utilize those things. I remember I prepared for a club game against Clef a couple years back, and I remember saying to myself and having the conversation with some of the people I was playing with, is that me winning or losing this game will depend on how well I utilize my running back in the passing game, because it was in Madden 21, and I ended up losing because Clef ran a lot of man coverage, and I did a poor job of utilizing my halfback. It's such an important thing. That and motion snapping. Like, we're going to see Randy Moss right here up the left sideline. Bang! Touchdown. And let's watch why this happens. Again, this is a little bit niche to Madden 21, but it's an example of a very small thing. So we have a motioned out streak right here. You're going to see Ghost make the read that, hey, this streak just beat this corner. He then makes the next read of this safety is in a flat. Remember earlier how Ghost threw the tight end corner route? Well, now Fancy says, I'm going to put this safety right here in a flat zone on the left side of the screen, and Ghost is able to recognize that and able to throw his dot. That's a pretty high-level dot. That's tough right there. That's tough. Fancy on offense, he's going to be running a lot of trips tight end. We're going to see trips right. He's always going to have that trips to the wide side. It's a little bit better spacing. Now, there is some good stuff with trips to the short side. And I think trips to the short side is always viable to an extent, but to the wide side is usually a little bit better. You're going to see Fancy have good pocket right there and then scramble out, have to throw the ball away. One of the biggest things you'll see with guys like Fancy, a lot of this TNC crew, Fancy has the 214 tag, but he is in TNC. 214 is just where the area he kind of represents, is that they're willing to limit bad plays. And what a bad play is a sack, is an interception, right? And along with a fumble as well. And one of the ways they do that is by not forcing really bad throws. They're going to throw the ball away when nothing's there. They're going to throw the ball away when they're under pressure and their first read's not there. They're going to make very smart decisions. You see Fancy going conservative right there. Why? Because he doesn't want to fumble. He is limiting fluke, and he's limiting the chance for a bad play, right? And you can't always minimize, whenever you put the ball in the air, there's always a chance for fluke. There's always a chance for a bad play, but you can minimize those things. Let's see what Fancy does here. Fancy, not in a man coverage look from Ghost. You can see This outside corner is on the right side, whereas if it was man coverage, he'd be over top 21 right here. Although Ghost may do some manual manning up here. We're going to see that inside zone cooks off for a good little gain of 21. And whenever you get the run game going, even if you're a predominant passer, if you can get the run game going and recognize, I mean, right there, rushing yards. So you average 16 yards a game rushing. Right there was a 20-yard gain. Even as a passer, if you can get the running game, it's funny. I keep stuttering here, repeating myself, but if you can get the running game going as a passer, it eases up your responsibilities so much. Whereas a lot of runners, they struggle to be able to capitalize on it. Even the passing game being there, they struggle to capitalize on it. It's a lot easier for passers to capitalize on a wide open run game than a runner to capitalize on a wide open pass game is what I'm trying to get at. 2nd and 9 though. Fancy tries to go right back to the inside zone, doesn't get it. Ghost ends up playing a little bit better defense right here. And I mean, 2nd and 9, that's not a bad situation. I like the run on 1st and 10. It's fine. I would never run the ball on 2nd and 9, I don't think, especially in a defense-oriented game. Let's see, what do we have? We have that curl route open. He low balls it, gets it. And this is a pretty basic combo that you're able to do out of a lot of offenses, but it's really popular in trips in a curl flat concept, right? We have a flat route right here, pushing out this flat zone, and then we have a curl route sitting inside of it. So we're isolating one defender. If old buddy right here plays up to X, we're gonna throw the flat. If old buddy plays down to Y, we're gonna throw X. We have X, we throw X. Good read from Fancy, good little play concept, and that's going to kind of start forcing Ghost's hand. And if Fancy wants to keep attacking that, Ghost's going to have to start playing, really dedicating 2 defenders or dedicating his user out to that area of the field, which then opens up. It becomes a huge chess match, right? Watching a lot of these TNC guys, Fancy, J-Wall, D-Croft, they do a really good job of making it into you can see the chess match happening in the game. You can see it. Fancy actually missing the read early. Kind of a mistake on Fancy's part, able to get the yardage, but he ends up missing. So he goes with an out route. So a pretty basic combo, out route, curl, post, right? He has this out route right here, but misses it. And then I think he sees it about right here, but knowing Fancy, he saw it about right here, but he was worried about where X would go to, because you'll see X ends up bouncing up, and you don't want to risk throwing that pick too late. Like, you miss that read. That's something a lot of people make the mistake of, is that they'll miss a read, and then they'll say, oh gosh, I have to throw that, right? If you miss the read, a lot of times it's now too late, and the route's gonna bounce into a weird direction. It's gonna do something you're not really looking for it to do, and it puts you in a bad spot where there's a good chance you throw a pick. And that's a good job by Fancy saying, I missed the read, damn it, but okay, how can I recover from that? And he ends up recovering from it and getting a good gain. Going back to single back wide trips, it's just red zone inside the 10-yard line. Let's see what it ends up doing. Does he go to the trap? Make some hot routes. I think there's a fake hot routes, though. Let's see if I'm right. They are. Trap is not there, though. Bo Jackson able to fight forward for about a gain of 1. And we're going to go into the 2nd quarter. Apparently Fancy 3rd and 3. Let's see. Does he go back to the trap right here? Goes back to the trap again. Bo Jackson falls forward. That's huge, actually, on 3rd, because that makes it 4th and inches where Fancy would have to decide. We're just going to skip ahead here for a second. A stretch call gets blown up. Okay, Fancy has to probably pass right here. Let's see what he goes to. Does he go to the trap right there? He is going to the trap on 2nd and goal. Oh, that was kind of nasty. This is high level right here. This is basically Fancy predicting that Ghost is going to click on. So Fancy right here, he's about to swerve. So you don't know he clicked on at this point. You're predicting the click on, and then you're predicting where Ghost's user is going to go, and he just predicts right. He's right. Honestly, good job by Fancy right there. Jeez. Here's a replay of it. Ooh, that's actually nasty. All right, Ghost back in offense. We got to watch this tight end. We got to watch the halfback, and we're going to see what ends up doing. Ends up having to dig on the backside. Deep in routes, dig routes are always really good at beating man coverage. A lot of times these stock in routes going to be a pretty good route against man coverage, and Ghost able to capitalize on it right there while forcing Fancy's user to have to use that tight end. If we watch that play back, we'd actually see that happen. Let's see what happens right here. If we can actually see Fancy have to overcommit on the tight end, leaving some other stuff open. Let's see. Fancy has to go. Oh, baits a tight end. Ghost ends up missing the read. Good bait by Fancy. 2nd and inches, though, he throws the ball away. No harm in that, especially on a down like 2nd and inches where it's like, whatever happens, happens. I don't like Ghost going to aggressive here. Ooh, I just think I'm not crazy about it. I guess it's just a fumble fumble loses you the game. Does he fumble? He might. I'm trying to think. Because I watched this game when it was live, but it was so long ago. Huh. I mean, he ends up getting it, goes back onto balance. I don't even like being on balance, dude. I think I'm such a believer in playing on conservative. We play such a fluky game. You want to limit the fluke against you. I mean, it's simple as that. We play such a fluky game. You want to limit the amount of fluke that can happen to you. It just isn't worth it, in my opinion. We're watching tight end on this deep corner route. We're going to see Ghost needs to be a little bit better with not missing. Yeah, and honestly, just good defense by Fancy right there all around. Really good defense from Fancy all around. Let's see here. Clef says, this is a perfect matchup for Ghost. His abilities on offense counters Fancy's abilities. Perfect. Going to be hard for Fancy to get a stop. And I actually agree with that. Fancy wants to play a lot of man coverage. And Ghost has the super tight end is what they called it. This guy right here, super tight end with the halfback abilities as well. Able to beat man. Let's see what we have. Able to immediately check it down. Able to air truck up for a good low gain. Let's skip ahead a little bit. And let's see. 3rd and 1. Where are we going here? Motion across. Motion snap for the blocking. Good. Is he able to fit RB? He is. That's Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara in the game at that RB position or that point receiver position, letting Ghost audible down whenever he wants into a 2-1-2 set. So a 2 wide receiver, 1 running back, or I'm sorry, 2 running back, 1 wide receiver, 2 running back, 1 tight end, 2 wide receiver set. I was just being a super idiot for a second, which really gives you a lot of the I forms, right? Any formation that has a fullback, you get audible down to. It's actually what he's doing right here is going to I form close, weak close flex, so a little offset I, rather. And we're just going to see. I don't love watching some of these. Here we go, a little pass play now. 2nd and goal from the 8. Snap throws it. What is that? He knew he got inside release right here. Let's watch Jerry Rice on the right side. That was a quick snap throw touchdown. Let's see. Oh, he must know that. Yeah, he must know that this route gets inside release. You see he's already throwing. Receiver's not even looking. Yeah, he must know he's able to do that. Good play by Ghost. That's just one of those lab kind of red zone plays that you know is a possibility. Fancy, though, on a 1st and 10. Just under 2 minutes to go here. 2 timeouts. Fancy starts with the run. Tries to cut it back. Gets a good run right there. Does he hurry up? Because he is a little limited on. I mean, he is limited on time to an extent. You have 2 timeouts. I mean, you have time, but this is a hard game to move the ball. Fancy knows that. And you can see Ghost is in man coverage across the board here. Nothing really open. Yeah. This isn't as bad of a read as it looks, so I'm going to break down why this isn't that bad. So typically what would happen here is Fancy's going to lowball this route right here. If he gets a click on, he's able to ag catch this back to get a diving catch with Randy Moss. Instead, he doesn't get that diving catch, and Ghost's acrobat gets a diving catch behind him. Really not that bad of a. I mean, that's a pretty consistent throw for the trips guys. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, that's a pretty consistent throw. I mean, the defender's on the curls back. It's one of those throws that look covered, but it's typically throwable. All right, we're gonna see if Ghost going back to. Ghost gonna start running the ball. Just gonna clock it. Let's just chew this down some. And yeah, able to hit the backside post right here. Okay. So here, yeah, we can actually break down why that got open. So Fancy running the cover 2, right? Cover 2 man. So deep half. Post routes breaking over the middle. He actually has RB wide open, but doesn't even see it because he just has B wide open. Bad user by Fancy. Honestly, that's more of a bad user on Fancy's part because I'll be honest, Ghost misses this RB read. Whether or not Ghost, I'm surprised he didn't just launch that right there because Fancy could still get back up to the B route, but he doesn't. Yeah, terrible user by that's on Fancy 100% because Ghost missed the initial read. Jeez. All right, Fancy, a minute left in the first half. 1st and 10. 2-man rush. Not really anything. You could throw X right there, maybe. Gets sacked instead, though. Waits too long. Lawrence Taylor off the outside. 2nd and 18. Fancy uses a timeout now. Down 14. Fancy does get ball at half, so it's not a terrible spot. I mean, it's obviously not good by any means, but it's not the worst spot ever in the history of the world, right? It is something that you can come back here, especially if you're able to get points here, preferably 7, but just points of any kind. You're definitely in an okay spot. He's gonna be throwing Y across. That dive catch is so scary, but it is. I mean, the thing about man coverage is that a lot of the windows you have to throw are tight. That's why there is a lot of skill gap when there's a man coverage meta on defense, is because there's also not just skill gap, but knowledge gap of what tight throws you can throw. I will say that because, like, not many people know that that ball is a ball that you can throw at a pretty high success rate. So I would say that there is a lot more skill gap, but there's also a lot of knowledge gap right there. Again, he gets the post route, drops at that time. It looks like Fancy's upset, but it looks like... Okay, so he has an ability... Okay, so these are two ability guys going at it. Unfortunately for Fancy, this guy's lit up as like a red Pokemon. He has his X Factor activated, which is probably some kind of knockout. And he's able to get that knockout, which is frustrating for Fancy, but that is the game we play. Fancy, I know, has an ability right there, so he probably wants that to get played. Only nice thing about that is that I guess the clock is stopped at least. I mean, trying to be super positive, trying to find the silver lining. No timeouts for Fancy either, so wants to work out of bounds, but, you know, kind of just depends. Playmakers, nothing there, nothing there. Does he have the crosser? He does. Does he get it in bounds? He does. Okay. Had the cross, so that animation is kind of ass sometimes, but he's able to get it in. Is that Santana Moss with the catch? It is. Good job, Santana Moss. Fancy's basically guaranteed himself 3. 7, obviously, you get 7 here, you're down 7 with ball at half, so you have a chance to tie the game, etc., etc. Ghost burning a timeout. A good time, if your defense is misaligned, whatever, good timeout. You always want to burn those. In the first half, you always can be pretty willing to burn those, in my opinion. Just because a fluke, it's so hard to move the ball. A fluke touchdown kills you. It really does. Watch the running back right here. RB's user. Good user from Ghost. Has to throw it away. Good throw away by Fancy. No reason to force anything. I thought he might try to force that S post over the top, but he doesn't. He knows he's in a... For as bad of a situation he's in, he knows he's in like the best case scenario right now. For the situation he's gotten himself into with the pick, right? And, you know, it's not saying much, but it is saying something. Has X, throws X, possession catches X. Oh, he's caught the 1. He has to hurry up. Is he going to spike? He will spike. Okay. Oh, that's frustrating. Does he? Huh. What do you do here? You can't run the ball this down. You definitely can't run. You're so close where it's like you can't settle for... You can't run the ball here, I don't think. Can you run the ball, hurry up, and run the ball again? You might be able to. I don't know. Run the ball, hurry up, run the ball again, I guess. Let's see if you get... Does he get stopped here? Does it matter? Doesn't matter. Okay, Fancy's into the end zone. Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown. We're going to skip ahead. 12 seconds left. Ghost won't be able to get any sort of point. Gets sacked. Yep. Fancy receiving the ball right here at halftime. They're doing a whole lot of talking, not much playing. And he's on the 40-yard line. 1st and 10. Trips to the left. Santana Moss in motion, left to right. This motion streak. Remember, Ghost utilized this earlier for that fade route to Randy Moss. Fancy's looking to utilize it over here to Santana Moss on this right side. Let's see if he... Can we see him get a step? He does get a step, but goes to the deep zone right here helping. Why, in man coverage, why is open here? This is a throw you can make, especially a lob over top possession catch, but he has help right here, which is fair. I would look for A to possibly be a throw. He does not force A, throws it. Oof. And again, like kind of a skill gap, knowledge gap, whatever you want to call that, that is a ball you can fit in on man coverage. This is tight though. It's just because when you add catch, you get this diving catch animation. Also, Ghost got clicked on to Sneed right here. But it's a throw that you can make. It scary as heck though. It is scary as heck, that's for sure. Fancy again, 1st and 10, looking halfback, no post route. I mean, he's just throwing stuff without looking. That's the issue. Like that, he didn't have that same step that we talked about earlier. I mean, he just doesn't really have it right, not as much right there. And that's, I will say, the other frustration I have with the man coverage meta is that man coverage is inconsistent. And I mean, man coverage is notoriously inconsistent where like sometimes it beats man, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes my man coverage plays that route, sometimes it doesn't. And that's just something you can't really afford to have in a competitive game. It just makes it hard to be competitive because you're fancy right there just saw the route against man coverage and assumed he saw the route against man coverage and just assumed that he would that it would win instead of actually making the read, which is wrong on Fancy's part, but still. Fancy almost gets there with his user. Gets tipped anyways. I don't think he would have gotten it with his user right there. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think he would have gotten there with his user. Go 2nd and 10. Not on a hash either. These guys prefer to be on a hash mark either left or right. Watch this tight end out route. Fancy basically has to user it. Let's see. Doesn't user it. Throw. Yeah. Yep. Literally like straight up like easy little cat and mouse game. And Ghost knows that his tight end out is going to win most of the time. see, Ghost from conservative, like, if you're Ghost here, man, you're up 7. I guess because it's a big 3rd and 2, you want that extra fight. I'm curious. Okay. If he goes back to conservative, the play after this, assuming he gets a first down, that's fair. If he doesn't, I just disagree with this so much. Let's see if he does. Because that's fair. It's a big 3rd and 2. Big 3rd and 2. Let's see. Ghost has a throws. Yeah, Fancy just has to take away that out route. All right. Let's see if goes back to conservative. Fair. Oh, he didn't. He did not. I mean, he clicked on it, but I think he just wanted to see if he was unbalanced. Yeah, it's just like you're in such an advantageous spot right here, and plus you're only 20 yards away from field goal range. You go up 10 or go up 2 possessions, up 10 points. Like you just can't risk losing that because of a fumble, right? And think about the situation a fumble happens here. It's either a sacked fumble or it's after you complete a pass, meaning you're pretty close to field goal range and you complete a pass, and you fumble. Like you can't risk that. Go, and his quarterback's tired too. You're asking to fumble the ball. It's just dumb. There's too much money on the line. You're in too good of a spot right here to risk fumbling the ball and giving up everything you just worked to get. In my opinion, that's a huge blunder. I get it on like 3rd and inches. It's a big down. Any kind of like big down scenario, I get it. But that's just a huge pet peeve of mine. I'm a big, but like this is a game of fluke. And if you're a true, like I really do believe it. Like if you're a true competitor and Ghost, and right there's another example of man coverage just being inconsistent as heck, dude. Right here, tight end. We saw this tight end beat man almost every single time. This time it doesn't. Gets picked off by Isaiah Simmons. I mean, it's just that's why I don't like a man coverage meta. I just don't like it. It's not even. It makes players play worse too. Like Ghost right there is not even making he's reading that it's in man coverage, so he's assuming the route's gonna win when it just doesn't win every time. It's inconsistent. Fancy gonna be going to the run game right here. Gonna be cutting it back to the right side. Yep, he does. Boom, boom. Nice little stick work. Fancy getting huge gains right there. He's not gonna turbo, but I wish he would. I'd be turboing right here. We're going fast. 7 minutes left. 7.5 minutes left in this game. It's been a wild game so far. Fancy though has gotten his way back into it with a chance to tie it. Needs to find a way to score here from the 21. I wouldn't be surprised to see the S post from X get open right here, maybe. Nope, doesn't. Rich Gannon slides for a gain of about 7. 1 rush for 8 yards for Rich. Good pocket. Fancy going into the single back wide trips now. Let's see what he does right here. Fancy it was a run commit. This dude, Fancy, tried losing. Jeez, I remember watching this stuff live. Watch Ghost's defense. Ghost run commits. And then what does Fancy do? He throws it right at his user. Right at his user. Oh my gosh. Everything. I forgot this happened. I remember watching this game too. Fancy's a good friend of mine, so it's like I just remember being so like, oh my gosh, man, come on. All right, and you see, like, it's basically like it's just, hey, I hope my tight end actually wins this time. And that time he does. That time he wins. It's not good for the game. Inconsistencies are terrible for the game, and man coverage has way more inconsistencies, in my opinion, than a heavy zone meta, which is just, it's not good for competitive Madden. And you see 2 of the best offensive players in the world are no longer making reads if players are open. They're just assuming they'll be open based on the coverage before actually seeing if they are. Which isn't totally, it's just... It just results in bad stuff. Right there, double flips results in a delay of game. Let's skip ahead just a little bit. 2nd and 7 wasn't anything important right there. We got another we have this tight end corner. Same play over and over again. This halfback option route's really, really good as well. Tight end corner not open, throws it away. Good throw away from Ghost. Big 3rd and 7 right here. If you get stopped with your Ghost, there's a good chance you just kick your 3 and go up 3 points on Fancy. The biggest thing for Ghost is not to get sacked out of field goal range here. You just can't really afford that because you're not going to pick up a 4th and 15 either, more than likely. Let's see what happens. Has an out route from Kamara right here. Watch this deep dig from 80 on the left side. Has the deep dig. Throws the corner out instead. Had that. Gets it. 4th quarter is upon us and goes at the 21-yard line. Let's see what happens right here. Ghost. Oh, Ghost ends up trucking a bunch right here, huh? He must. 1st and 10. Motions out. Tight ends on a drag this time. So kind of a cool thing from Ghost is that Fancy. Watch Fancy's user right here. The tight end he would release vertical for a step and then would kick out, right? He kept on going on an out route, like every single time, right? Fancy's user has been usering it, kind of. So, Ghost knows his user's going to immediately jerk out. He puts his tight end on a drag. Fancy's user overcommits, and he has this drag in this pocket right here. Now, Ghost accidentally trucks backwards, and, you know, whatever. But a good idea nonetheless. And he's going to be putting that tight end on a drag again, which will beat man. Doesn't look like anything. Oh. Is that a dot, or is that... I don't know. I always get... In this game, the red zone isn't that entertaining just because it's a bunch of runs. Fancy does get a stop right here. How does he get that stop? Oh, yeah, that's right. I foreshadowed it earlier. That's right. Second and goal. Oh, God. Let me know in the comment section if you guys want me to avoid kind of skipping around like I have. I just don't want so much dead space in between. So if you guys would like me to not to skip around at all, just let me know. But yeah, we're going to... So Ghost is on aggressive. Or he's on balance or aggressive. And right here, boom. User hit stick, backfield. Jeez. And that's... I mean, like, that's like... If a true competitor doesn't like fluke in what they do, right? Like, you don't want fluke in what you do. You just don't. It's not good. It means you have less control, and a true competitor wants as much control as possible, right? So not playing on conservative is just kind of asking fluke to happen to you. Or you're looking for fluky broken tackles on your end, and it's like that's not what competition is, in my opinion, at its purest form. At least not in how esports should be. Just in my opinion. Fancy with the cutback again. That was a nasty stop and go. You just can't do that stuff anymore on current gen. Fancy about 20 yards away from field goal range, a chance to win this game. Let's see where the clock's at after this when he snaps this ball. Probably just under 3, I think, right? Yeah, should be under 3 when he actually snaps the rock. Ghost probably has to end up calling timeouts here shortly. I mean, to be fair, Fancy does have to keep moving the ball, which has been hard. I mean, he's thrown some picks. Santana Moss, watch this Santana Moss get snapped on the streak. So I would not be surprised to see him possibly blow by the man coverage. He does with the safeties there to help. A is not open. X is... Oh, my God. I mean, you're asking for an acrobat pick, dude. Oh, my gosh. That's why this game's an example of so many times why I just hate man coverage metas, because they're so fluky and inconsistent, man. I mean, just like right there, if his corner acrobats, it's a pick. And now he loses. Just stupid. It's just stupid. And it's not, I mean, that's how you have to play. That's how you had to move the ball on offense. So like, it's not like Fancy doing anything wrong. Gets hit stick. It's not like Fancy doing anything wrong. It's just like that the metas ask you to make fluky throws, or to make throws with high fluke risk, for lack of a better word. Which just it's frustrating. I'm not a fan of it at all. We're gonna see 2nd and 13. Fancy not totally on a hash. He's drifted to the right, but not totally on a hash. Santana Moss. This is an X-Bot setup. I think we're gonna see. Ooh, this is a setup that we do not see from Fancy very often, and he gets screamed at. Fair. Ghost gonna let this thing run, and we're gonna see a 4th and 19 field goal from Fancy. With Ghost down 3, 2 minutes left, 1 timeout. Really, there's plenty of time to get a field goal range. They have a kicker who can kick from like the 40-something. Really, no excuse for Ghost if he can't make it down. You have plenty of time. You have a timeout. You can get down there. You can definitely get into field goal range. Fancy though, in a decent spot. Obviously can't let up a touchdown, but ooh. Ghost already gets into field goal range, but dang, that throw's scary. Jeez. Oh, that's a scary throw. Just because his user's in the vicinity, if you don't pass lead that up like perfectly, it can hit the sidelines and the user can get to it. Watch a tight end, watch a halfback right here. Let's see. Fancy zoning out a lot. Good D. Good D from Fancy. Josh Allen. Whoo! Close, but good slide from Ghost. Those slides can sometimes get scary because when you try to do it as you pass the line of scrimmage, you could accidentally pass, accidentally throw the ball, or accidentally dive, or it just won't let you. And it was all in a turnover, which is frustrating. So we're a couple yards away from field goal range. 2nd and 8. Ghost is going to pass the ball right here, so there is some pressure just to get those last couple of yards. Halfback, tight end, that's what you got to be looking for again right here, per usual. Tight end is... Oh! Throw it, man. That's what you're looking at. I mean, it's just the half plays over more than he thought, I think. I mean, let's see where Ghost is when he snaps this ball. No. The half just plays it. Fancy falls down. All he has to do is kneel it 3 times. All Fancy has to do is kneel it because there's a 30-second play clock. Well, to be fair, like a fullback dive on conservative, I guess, would be better because a kneel takes about a second, 30-second play clock. So basically 60 free seconds will run off. So Fancy needs to kill about 4 seconds so he doesn't have to play a 4th down. Instead, he's kneeling right now, which kills 1 second, which means he will have to punt the ball, right? Yeah, so right here, run a toss, right? You see the clock? So the clock's going to drip another second on this kneel to 33. Yep, 32. Oh, yeah, it's just going to keep going. But look, 29, 27, 28, 26, 27, 25. We're going to have to see a punt. Now, Fancy's smart. He takes a delay of game here because the game forces you to kick with 3 seconds left on the delay of game, on the play clock. So if Fancy's smart right here, he takes a delay of game, backs up 5 yards, and then just punts the ball safely out of bounds. You see Fancy's eyes are very large. Fancy just let Ghost tie the game. Ghost is not a perfect kick, but good enough. Oh my gosh. Overtime and Fancy's on defense. Probably, I mean, I'm not... Of the MCS era, that's got to be one of the biggest clock blunders ever. If you're Ghost at this point, dude, you're not like, you lost. You lost. You're only in this game because Fancy let you be in the game. So thank Fancy. Fancy, though, you have to at this point realize that, hey, I'm a giant effing moron. But you can still win. You didn't lose the game. You just lost. You didn't win the game when you should have just won. And for people saying the final, like, it's the longest 1 second ever, the reason the clock will stay at 1 second longer than every other time frame is because 1 second starts at 1 second, 0.59 milliseconds or whatever, all the way down to 0.001 seconds. Whereas all the other ones only, so it basically, the 1 second timer lasts for 2 seconds, whereas all the other seconds last for 1 second, if that makes sense. Like, if you're at the 3 second play clock, the 3 second play clock lasts from 3.59 seconds to 3 seconds, whereas the 1 second play clock lasts from 1.59 seconds to 0 seconds. Exactly 0. They won't change the timer to 0 until it's literally 0. So if there's 0.001 seconds on the clock, it will show 1 second on the clock. But it'll just end up being a really short second. Let's see what Ghost ends up doing, though. 3rd and 9. Fancy has a chance to get a stop right here. Let's see what he does. I don't know what Ghost is doing here. Trying to do some kind of glitch. He might just burn a timeout. Takes a delay. Okay. Sick. Okay, we have a... God damn it. All right, technical timeout. All right, great. Good job, guys. Awesome. Good job, guys. All right, Ghost got the first down. Sure. I mean, you guys want to sit through a technical timeout with me? You guys want? We can just sit there and watch them argue. So Fancy. Let's see what happens right here. I really don't remember a ton of this anymore. I don't know what Ghost is doing, dude, with these motion back and forths. Whatever. Fancy's user gets super caught down. Here's a huge mistake that happened. I mean, Fancy's in the middle of making adjustments, and as he's making an adjustment, the ball gets snapped. User strips and now gets caught, and the ball gets thrown right where his user would have been. Big mistake. Something that a lot of people make when they first get into Madden. or not even when they first get into Madden, just when they're playing Madden, something that you have to like super avoid. Just because taking your user out of the play, I mean, that play right there looks like nothing's open if his user's just in the middle of the field. But instead, caught the line of scrimmage, whatever. Let's see, does he have B? B is not open. Throw. Oh, what? You know, I'm being 100% honest with you guys. For being, I mean, this is just not open. For being like two of the best offensive Madden players in the world, these guys are making some mistakes. But that's what big games will do to you. You'll make stupid mistakes. That I don't know what that throw was. Again, there is a lot of knowledge gap that happens in these games, so maybe Ghost knows something I don't. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that, I guess. Tight end, halfback, let's see. B. Maybe would have won the game right there. 3rd and 10. All right. Ghost. He'll probably kick 3 if he doesn't get it, right? Is that what he does? Ghost forces it. That's just not, I mean, good user, Fancy. Like, yeah, great user, man. But like, I mean, this is an obvious, I mean, I don't know. It's just so weird. Like, they're both great offensive players and just dumb mistakes. A lot of dumb mistakes on it. Like that right there was Ghost's past 2 drives both ended on kind of dumb mistakes, I believe. Fancy though, just needs a field goal to win, 30 yards or so. Let's see what he does. Goes to curl flat. All right. Oh, it launches it. He has a step. Has it. Got it. Boom. Touchdown. Fancy wins. Why was that open really fast? Let's see off the snap. Yep. You see right here? Immediately, he wins on that animation. Immediately. I'll let it run for a second. All right, let's back it up again. Watch right here. This animation, he just wins on immediately. Fancy just launches it. It actually ends up being a kind of a tight throw. Ghost solid with his user. Kind of a tight throw, but no, it's pretty. I mean, that's the thing about beating man coverage. You guys enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe. See you later.